you have definitely got this down. I mean, when you're talking about website traffic going up, let's see, what was it? 12,000%, the bounce rate down being 91%, the average session from a Facebook guest going up 588%. Huge. So you've been pumping out videos almost every day, sir. And you had such a successful track record with it. So I'd like to get your thoughts. I mean, what makes a good video, right, in terms of physicians reaching out to their prospective patients? I have the amazing privilege of talking to Dr. Dennis Fiorini up in Tallahassee, Florida. Doctor, why don't you introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about yourself, sir?
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Chris. I'm thrilled to be here, really, because I really, after 30 years in practice, I still am thinking I don't know anything. You know, I listened to a podcast, a interview with Paul McCartney one time, and the interviewer asked him. He said, "What's your biggest fear?" And Paul McCartney, perhaps one of the greatest, probably one of the most profound songwriters of all time.
Mm-hmm.
He said what scares him the most is that everybody's going to find out that the guy on stage is not him. and that's my biggest fear, is the fact that, okay, so I've been through 30 years of practice. I've been through 30 years of practice management, and with the Atlas orthogonal technique, learning the Atlas orthogonal technique, teaching the Atlas orthogonal technique, teaching practice management courses. And I still am like, there's still so much to learn. And so anyways, but
yeah.
I'm Dennis Fiorini. I've been in practice here in Tallahassee, Florida since 1992. This year is 28 years?
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, carry the one. I started out in LaGrange, Georgia for a couple of years, then went down to St. Pete, did a internship with Dr. Charles Gardner down there. And then 92, my wife and I opened Fiorini Chiropractic Center in 1994. Her brother came in with us, and we've just been moving right along ever since then.
So the reason why we're talking, sir, is we do some of your analytics and things like that. You have got the video thing down, and you were kind enough to accept my offer to kind of share with our audience kind of today some of the, for chiropractors specifically, some of the things that have worked and what's not. In fact, the title of this, because we're in marketing, the title of this is Chiropractic King of the Facebook Universe. Now there should have this really big gaudy, button or emblem that we should be pinning on you, sir. But you earn that. And some of the stats, I pulled them last week. Some people say, well, doctor, I'm cueing my patients well. We're practicing social distancing. I know they still have pain, right? In fact, in many cases, they're more susceptible to call you because, one, they have more time, two, they're less active, right? And three, since that's occurring, it has a mental and physical debilitating response, right? Because they're not in that same kind of lifestyle that they were before, and then socially they're removed. So they're getting hit really from all sides, and probably need you guys and gals more often than what they even did before. So the search traffic is showing that. And I'm going to share with you just a couple of the stats. You've seen this. I've shared that with Dr. Peter Fernandez too. Look, on average, we're just going to talk about Facebook today, sir. Just Facebook alone. On average, our campaigns generate about 30 to 37,000 views per month for you, okay? Last week, according to the numbers anyway, the last week's numbers, in that previous month, so this was March numbers, our average again is 30,000 to 37,000. Over 100,000 impressions. Over 100,000 impressions went to almost 200,000 impressions, right? And the video views, which are normally around 37,000 or so, 37,000, 50,000 views. So again, that's not just our hypothesis, that's actual data coming in the funnel, right? And here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Engagement. When people say, okay, well, you're getting impressions, right? This is the thing that we hear often. Getting impressions. But our impressions were around 18 to 19% in terms of engagement. Like actual people like doing something once they saw it. It jumped to 29, almost 30%. Almost 30% from 18% averages. Okay. And you go, well, it's still not affecting my traffic to my website. And you go, well, on average, we get about 20 or 30 guests coming in. So they've seen the video, they've done something with it in terms of engagement, they've either watched the whole thing or whatever the case may be, but they don't really come to my website to convert. On average, you get about 20 or 30 of those guests in Facebook. Very little actually, like, because the timing and everything like that needs to be there. 503 people, your number one traffic driver in March, when everyone is apparently keeping to themselves or canceling appointments and things like that, the perceived kind of situation. So it even just gets better than that, right? So the bounce rate on those guests coming in to your website, that 503 from Facebook, the bounce rate was only 1.9%. So the content was so compelling, it brought them in, and they stayed there and saw the content and stayed on your website with the average of 2.8 pages per session. So again, they have pain problems, they saw the video, they clicked into the website, and they stayed there to answer their questions, okay? That is huge, all right? So you have definitely got this down. I mean, when you're talking about website traffic going up, let's see, what was it? 12,000%, the bounce rate down being 91%, the average session from a Facebook guest going up 588%, huge. So you've been pumping out videos almost every day, sir, and you had such a successful track record with it. So I'd like to get your thoughts. I mean, what makes a good video, right, in terms of physicians reaching out to their prospective patients?
Mm-hmm. So thank you for all that. And
yeah, it's great.
you're I love data. And when you give me the data numbers and everything, that just absolutely is, I'm a nerd when it comes to that stuff. I can't really do anything about it, but
yes,
I am a nerd when it comes to it. I like you telling me that stuff. So really, the first thing that we've got to do, and right now with people, I say everybody, a lot of people are at home just looking for something to do, right?
Right.
And so if we make it something that's relevant to them, something that is that they can relate to right now. So for instance, I turned on the TV this morning after my run, and I forget even what channel I turn on, but it doesn't really matter. It can be one of the networks. It can be one of the news networks. And there's always a scroll on the bottom talking about coronavirus. That's what everybody's talking about. And so what I just decided to do is just every day, instead of giving those the horrible news that everybody's giving, I'm trying to give people better news of how to build up their immunity, because that's what is important in this pandemic right now, is the fact that if your body's strong, if you get the virus, you're so much less likely to even have a symptom of having the virus, let alone, get really sick.
Yes.
So I think the global numbers are something like 96% of the people that actually get it have no or very mild symptoms. So if we can strengthen that immune system, and we can give people a way to do that, that's something that they want to hear about, and they want to know about it right now.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about that, it's real important. Now, the number one reason why people go see a not just a chiropractor, but any kind of doctor, number one reason is lower back pain. Number one reason.
Right.
So if we are helping if we're helping people with lower back pain, I think the next one is headaches. So if we're helping with lower back pain, not only are we helping those patients, but we're helping them to the point that they don't have to go to the emergency room. So we're keeping the emergency rooms empty or less full.
Yeah.
If someone's got lower back pain and headaches and neck pain. And what do chiropractors take care of? Lower back,
Right.
neck pain, and headaches.
Right.
So that's real relevant to them right now. And then of course the nutrition part that I've done a lot of is so very, very important. So that's the number one thing is pick something that's relevant.
Yep, I'm gonna write it on the board for us.
Whiteboard that.
Relevant and timely, right? Relevant and timely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think anything that says coronavirus right now is gonna be relatively timely. So
right.
So that's what I'm trying to do, is just trying to do a daily kind of for lack of a better term, a shot in the arm for people, because they hear all the negative stuff all day long. And
overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. And you do get some comments of, oh, you're downplaying this and everything. And I always go into it as saying, okay, no, this is bad. This is not a good thing, but here's some good news behind it. And then you go into that and you tell them, what's going on. Give them a little, say, okay, well, we're doing the right thing right now, but it is something that you need to know about.
Sure.
And everybody's looking for that information, right? So it's relevant and it's timely, right?
There you go. And then with some of the videos that you've done, so it's relevant and timely, it's engaging. What are some of the other things that you found seem to work in terms of the video?
Okay, so as I've done these, I've gotten a lot better at making, for instance, I've got this, I'll show you this. I've got this yellow pad, and one of my talks was natural ways to boost your immunity. And so I just wrote down, and you can't read that, and I could barely read it, but I just wrote down 1 through 6, the things that I wanted to cover. And so what I would do is I'd just see what my heading was there. For instance, the first one was eat the proper foods to help us fight the viruses. Okay, and that's for any virus. So, and then I just went through all those. So as I've done these, I've started going, sometimes I forget what I'm going to say.
Right.
So I'm trying to write down at least bullet points as to what I want to cover. And then if I don't get to something, I cover it the next time. So that's real important, is bullet points.
Well, we use that even when we're doing filming, right? So, I'll often have the camera, I'll have a camera set up, and let's say the camera's right here, which in this case it is, but right over on this other side, I may have a sticky note or a board or something of that nature that I can just put right on that. So it looks like I'm kind of looking at the camera or pretty close to it, and I've got my 4 or 5 things written right here. Right. We're doing video shoots. It's the same thing. I'll have a teleprompter, but I'm putting that teleprompter literally right behind / next to the thing. So it looks like I'm talking directly to that, as opposed to, trying to do that every single time. Right. So I think that's really good.
And that's real super. And that's, as I've done these, I've found that that's real important in the fact that if you're looking into the camera, when people are watching the video, you're talking directly to them. So they see your eyes. Now, and like you said, you can look away every once in a while. For instance, if I'm talking about a research project or something like that, or a research paper, I'll look down at the paper and I'll have, some things underlined that I want to cover. And I'll look down there and I'll say, oh, okay, and this point here, and you look back up into the camera so that you're looking at that patient, prospective patient, you're looking at whoever's watching that video. Absolutely. Real important.
Absolutely.
Unless you got somebody like you interviewing us, okay? So,
Well,
so you can kind of look off to the side of the camera or something sometimes, but
well, you and I mean, even we chatted via bullet points and stuff like that this morning, just to make sure we kind of had our own little tip list. So, the bullets,
sure.
keeping the topics relevant, making sure that that list is there for us. In terms of the amount of time that somebody, the length of a video, sir, is important, because we have, I don't know if you know this, but they've done a study. The average goldfish has an attention span of a little over 11 seconds. The swimmy goldfish, right? So the average college graduate today is around 7.2 seconds. So that literally destroys a theory of evolution stuff right out of the gate. But it also doesn't really say much. And we've seen it in terms of the numbers, like in YouTube video insights and stuff like that. Even your introduction videos. If you can do just a simple overlay, use the Apple phones and things like that. They've got iMovie. You can just drop little titles in. So instead of even saying your name, Dr. Fiorini, potentially you can go ahead and do it. Now, it doesn't matter, since you're so charismatic, it shows no problem in your insights at all. But those are the kind of things that we need to be thinking about. So in terms of length of video, what's your recommendation there, sir?
Okay, so I've heard, and as you know, I've gone to a lot of this social media classes and everything, and I can put people in contact with the guy that I learned all that stuff from too as well. He always, some of the experts have said it needs to be around 3 minutes, but these little ones that I've been doing each day, I try and keep them 3 minutes and below. So
Right.
1 or 2 minutes is pretty good. I find it a little bit difficult. I tend to start talking real fast when I've only got a minute. And
Right.
I've done some interviews. Yeah, I've done some interviews with the local TV stations.
Hmm.
And I used to be on a show where it was a 3 minute length. And then they went to 2 minute length. And now it's like a minute length. And
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, I'm talking pretty fast or I'm not saying a lot. And that's when you have to do those overlays. So that's what I like to do. I like to do somewhere between 1.5 to 3 is really what I usually do. I typically don't really watch the clock on the ones that I've been doing recently, but it turns out that that's about how long they are.
Well, I think your bullet points and things like that are definitely going to help keep you on task, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you're going through this list. I think that does bring up a good point. Don't rush, right? Videos have
Right.
to be interesting. You've got to use ups in fluctuations in your voice, right? You have to
Sure.
be passionate about what you're talking about, which you are. And if you're not, they're not going to be passionate about it either, right? So
Mm.
there's things like, cadence and being mindful of what you're trying to come across and say. Those are all really good things. Don't rush through content, and don't try to
Right.
cram too much content in there too, right? I mean, if you have 18 bullet points, that's too much to be covering. Just
Sure.
2, 3, 4, maybe not five things at the most, right? That I'm going to be bringing away from this. So
Right. And then you've got, if you don't get to all your go ahead and write those bullet points down. But if you don't get to some of them, do it, save it for tomorrow. I
right,
love that.
yeah,
I like getting my just my regular posts on Facebook, since we're just talking about Facebook,
yeah,
just my regular posts. I like to get them out of the way on like Sunday afternoon. I schedule all of them,
right,
is what I try and do for the
right,
whole week.
yes,
Um, that way I don't have to think about it. And not only is at least those 3 posts a day done, but now Monday comes along and I go, oh, okay. So I just heard about this on a paper that I read. So I'll go with a Facebook Live or something like that, real quick,
right,
1 or 2 minutes,
yep,
and just say, hey, I just came across this. I think this is some good information for you. And then it's like, and I know these. One of my doc friends from Fernandez was saying, when do you work? You're always on Facebook. And I'm like, I'm not. I'm in between patients sometimes.
yeah,
So
yeah,
really doesn't take a lot of time. The most time consuming part of it is scheduling the posts for the week. And so I schedule 3 posts a day, 1 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon.
Okay.
And I've found that 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that just seems to be the best time to put those on there.
Natural flow.
Right. Right.
So,
and so each and every day, there's 3 posts that are typically already scheduled.
That's beautiful.
And then I do extra ones. So.
Now that does bring up the issue of equipment, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you could use this device, your phone, right? You could use that. I'm talking to you on a Logitech HD, camera thing that's there. You don't have to be, have the most outrageous equipment. Do you have any just thoughts in terms of equipment or just simple things that they can do? Not that that should hold anybody up in terms of doing any of the content.
Yeah, this is what I use.
Right.
Every time.
Right.
Okay, so I use this for all of those videos. Frankly, I use this. I do a podcast. I'm trying to do a podcast every week, and the podcast is all on this. I don't use an external speaker or anything. I mean, or external microphone for it or anything. Yeah. So I just do it right from here. Now I do have an LED ring light.
Right.
That I typically use, which makes this look a lot better. Like I probably should have set that up so that people could see
people
me.
Can check out your videos and see the quality, sir.
Right. So it really does. Just that little bit of light does make it look that much better. I mean, it really does.
Or even outside, outside too, right? Just be mindful of lighting. So in this case here, just think about when you look at yourself through the screen, which you can do. You just pull up your phone and go to camera, right? And you could, switch the camera around, and you get a chance to see yourself in it. You go, would I want to watch that video? Like that's too low. I'm looking up my notes, right? That's actually a pretty decent look. So I can actually do my video right here. I'm going to be mindful of looking into the camera at the top, right?
Right.
This is me talking on my phone, but if I have a monitor, a little bit of you can order them on Amazon, seriously, or even just get a couple of books, right? You get some nice heavy books, and then you put the book, so that your phone is sitting up like this, right? You don't have to make it complicated, right? You don't even need the special equipment.
Complicated at all.
Yeah.
This thing I use so often. I got it at a social media seminar.
Okay.
This thing it pulls up like that, and you can put it in that, you can put it like this, or you can put it like this. Okay. And then it's got a tripod like that.
Yep.
So you put that on, and it's super simple, man. And then you just set that up. This one's even got a little remote control that you can start. You can start the video, so you're not going, okay. Hi, Dr. Dennis Fiorini here. So this is really neat, and I think you can get this for like, I don't even think it's $20 on Amazon. Seriously, that's literally one of the cheapest things you can get.
But literally, what we're saying here is don't let even that hold you up, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you have a couple books or binders, you can set that thing up there. Go ahead and push the button. Be prepared to start talking, right? But at the end of the day, don't let that be a hurdle to you getting things done, right? And doing video.
No, you can, when I started it, and sometimes I'll even do, like I'll get home and I'll go, oh, I forgot to do such and such. And I'll go out in the backyard and I'll just put it up like this. It's pretty simple. Or I'm sorry, put it up like this. You don't want it down like this. You look like, I don't know, the Blair Witch Project or something like that. You got to have it up like this. Get your angle and everything. I'm a little bit vain on that, but
does it look good? Does it look good?
Right.
That's the question you have. And even like lighting. Yeah, you mentioned like the ring light and stuff like that. I've got studio lighting here, which I use on a regular, because I'm using the whiteboard and stuff like that. But even just a normal lamp. I've used this. Just a normal desk lamp, and you stick it behind to light your face, and you move it to the side of the desk, so, or maybe not even directly on you, but it might be against the wall, it might be down, but it's enough.
Right.
When you look at the screen, you can go, okay, I'm good with that, and you just kind of play with it over there.
Sure.
I like what I'm seeing. Okay, great. Now I'm ready to go. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Don't
No,
let that
absolutely.
mess you up. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't want it to be, and like you said, you can bounce it off a wall or off a ceiling or something like that, so that you don't get hot spots
Right.
on your screen. But again, it's all about, okay, what does it look aesthetically? What does it look to your eye?
Yes.
I always have my wife go and check it afterwards, and she usually tells me what I should have done better.
Yeah.
But it's usually something I said that she said, "Oh, you shouldn't have said." Anyway.
Now, the other thing I want to talk about in terms of, let's say format. Is there a format that you typically try to think about? I know when we're talking about normal video production, we're talking, or even page development for websites and things like that. There's three parts, right? There's connect with your guest, so be empathetic. There's share information that will be helpful to that guest, whether that's in tip form or nutrition tips or things they may want to try themselves. And then in the third piece of the third paragraph or third part of content, it is, look, this is really complicated. There's questions you might have because this is a complex system. Give us a call. It's the same 3 steps. But do you have an approach in terms of that format that you're using?
Yeah, well, it turns out that there's a format. I have to be completely honest with you and forthcoming in that I don't really think of it that much. I don't know if it's just become
Natural.
more of a natural, more of an automatic thing. It's like Dr. Pete has always taught us. He said, okay, here's the script.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Right.
Here's the script. I want you to cover every part of that script. And for the first 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 30 years, you read through that script,
Right.
but it becomes your own. And so what I've found out, and when we were talking about it earlier, and you sent me a few things on the email, I was like, yeah, I guess there is a little bit of there is a format in there. There's a little bit of genius involved in there. So I haven't gotten to the point. Now I've seen a lot of videos where the guy that's doing the video will say, hey, this is Dr. Dennis Fiorini. I know everybody's asking about this, and this video is going to teach you this, and this.
Yeah.
I don't think about that much right now. I'm not doing that because I'm just trying to connect with that person and just say, okay, listen, I know I've got a little information for you, but I really just like you. Okay. And this was confusing to me at first. So I want to do this video that kind of explains what we've got to do, and it's still going to be complicated. So call us, or go to the website, and if you have any questions, call us at the office, and we'll be happy to set something up for you. But I have to be completely honest. I'm not that format. I don't have an ABC. I have I come on, I introduce myself, and I say, I've been thinking about this. I've been talking about this. Here's some questions that I've been thinking about, and here's some questions that some patients have asked me.
Yeah.
And here's what I've told them.
See, so the topic really for you is the empathy, right? Because there are things that in this case here, you're kind of looking at it from that patient's standpoint, and you're saying,
sure,
these are the things that I have questions about, and I've done research, and because of my expertise, I might have an opinion on it that could benefit you. So I think what you're saying is, from the topic standpoint, you're showing empathy right out of the gate. You obviously have helpful information that you're conveying to the guest, and and your community members. And then the fact is, because you're genuine and want to help, you do make that kind of call to take that next step. So I think those are the 3 components. You're doing them already. You're just doing them naturally, which is absolutely fine. I do like it goes to one of our other tips here. You're putting yourself in the patient's shoes. That's what empathy really is. You're saying, look, I struggle. I wanted to know the answer to the post that you did this morning or last night was about food, right? The question I have
Mhm.
is when I take my stuff home from the grocery store, is it safe? And how do I make it as safe as I can be based on the fact that somebody may have sneezed on it or whatever the case may be? So you're empathizing with them. You're putting those people, number one, and you're being able to connect with them that way. So I think that's an awesome tip. You're just doing it organically. Some people may have to,
Sure.
when they've read their bullet points, go, I need to be mindful of that, right? Especially if
Hmm.
this is a long-term strategy. Um,
Sure.
the last, I did want to point out too that app that you were talking about. It's called the Anchor app. Kind of looks
Yes, anchor.
cool. That's one thing that is really, really helpful. It's like Dr. Fiorini was saying, is that it's very easy to use. The other thing is, anytime you can take the content that is inside your melon and share that in a way that's helpful to guests, you can't force them to use a specific media, but what you're doing is allowing those things to go out and be helpful to more people. Because generally, at
Right.
the very core of what you guys do is helping people be well. So
Absolutely.
so that's really, really important. The other thing too is, and I got to be honest with you too. Look, it's a paid game. A lot of times, if you do 5 posts, don't expect all this love and engagement and awesomeness to occur. You can look at that and you say, look, out of these 5 videos, right? This one here really rocked. Like people just, and it might be 5 or 6 likes as opposed to one, right? But you go,
Mhm.
people seem to like this topic, or I like this topic and I think it's helpful. Go ahead and throw a couple of bucks towards it in terms of Facebook, because the fact is you can target them that content to people in your area, right? The radius of that area, the cities in that
Mhm.
area. You can load that kind of with keywords and target them demographically and stuff like that. Facebook makes it exceedingly easy to use. Okay, so
Real easy.
real easy to use. In fact, even in terms of your content going live, this morning's photo of you here. Let's see if you can see that. So even like this morning, okay, you've got when you do your live stuff, I can get all live notifications now. You didn't put that in there. It's automatically built into Facebook structure in terms of building things. And they want
Mhm.
engagement. They want your videos to get engagement. That's how they can sell more ads. So it's a
Sure.
win-win-win for everybody. So do it. You may have a bunch of excuses on why you're not able to do it. Hopefully, we've knocked down a couple of those barriers for some of our viewers today, Doctor. And I do appreciate that time. Is there anything else that we haven't covered that you think would be important for somebody who's like, I need to do videos?
Yeah. So really the most important part of it is you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get at doing it.
Right.
I've been, when Facebook first came along, I was like, okay, I was like everybody else. I take a picture of my steak, what's interesting is when they say, this day in history or something like that, look back at your memories.
Mm-hmm.
And my, something that I posted like 10 years ago, uh, it said, Dennis is feeling lost 2 pounds since my last weigh-in or something like that. I mean, and what I found out is people are like, oh, I don't do Facebook. I don't do Instagram. I don't do social media.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's like not eating. Okay. It's like Dr. Fernandez used to be, we would have a yellow page ad. It's like back in the day, not having a yellow page ad if you're not doing it. And it's so much easier because you're talking about what you're passionate about. The biggest mistake, so the biggest thing that I want people to understand is
Yeah.
you can do it. So just do it. Okay. Make yourself a few notes, go with the bullet points that we've talked about today, the relevance, the timely, the using your phone,
Yeah.
whatever, just get it done. do a few, and then you end up making it your own. And so the most important thing is just get the content out there, because that's what all of these platforms are looking for. They're looking for original content. And how much more original can it be than you talking on a video, on a live video?
Yeah.
You can create content about studies that you've read, a newsletter that you read, or something like that. I mean, you do have to be careful. You don't want to read verbatim a study that was done or a newsletter that was done. Put your comments in there and say, okay, I agree with this part of this. I've seen this in our practice, and this is how it affects you. Okay.
Right.
And so that you're talking to the patient. So
I think
that's the biggest thing. And you got to have a cheerleader like Chris Bernard too. So that's good.
Well, I get the privilege of I'm serious. Like it is you. Here's the deal. You guys chiropractors do an amazing job at helping people. And let's be honest. I mean, this body is interconnected. So a lot of our physicians here will feel like, well, I'm more limited in terms of patients. I'm like, actually, guys, you can get more traffic, more guests, more engagement, even book more appointments right now, even if you have to reschedule them potentially or restack them a little bit. People are suffering right now, and you have an answer to their problem. So, let's subside the excuse, overcome those hurdles, right? And start doing our work to help people be better. And so you've got a great story. It's very easy to do the rest because you've got something everyone needs or a significant portion of the population needs, right? And they're doing more and more of those searches looking for an answer to their problem right now. And that traffic, whether it's Google AdWords or in this case, Facebook, has gotten much more abundant because of our ability to go search things digitally now because we're trapped in our homes, wherever the case may be. And we still have those pain issues, right? So you can be helpful in that mindset with those guests. They may be suffering from back pain, but like can't come out yet. They don't feel comfortable enough going to your office. Well, maybe you can talk about some of those things that they can do at home, right? If they're suffering from X, Y, or Z type of issues. So don't let those, put yourself in the perspective of that patient or that prospect or that person that's injured and talk to them, So the three takeaways that I see, and we did talk about a lot, we covered a lot of ground, Doctor. So, and I appreciate your insight. The performance is there, by the way. The impressions are there, the engagements opportunities are there. The media is cheaper than it has been before because there's people that say, well, I'm just going to pull out a media. You're like, no, on average, our cost per click in AdWords is actually gone down anywhere from 10 to 20%. And the impressions have doubled and the clicks have gone up 46% on average across our client base. So the traffic is there for you guys and gals, okay? And it's cheaper than it's ever been. This is why what Dr. Fiorini is talking about is so critical at this time, okay? So be relevant. I've got bullet the points to stuff out. Make sure you hit those points that you want to talk about. No more than 5, right? 3, maybe 5 at the most.
Right.
Or the facts or tips.
Sure.
And then, guys, just do it. Just do it. All right? Share some of those knowledge points. Be helpful. These are your friends. These are your neighbors that you can help. So I want to encourage you. I know Dr. Fiorini is all about encouragement too. Just do it. If you have any questions, you can message, I'm sure, Dr. Fiorini on Facebook. You can always contact us and get some answers to your questions. But I just want to encourage everyone to take that next step and go to it.